welcome and thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm Sam. I'll be moderating this presentation. I'll be behind the scenes monitoring any questions you might have, so feel free to ask away. I'll also be entering some links into the chat. You will see them pop up right above our heads. Click directly on those links. They're going to guide you over to our website where you can book an appointment with one of our advisors. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can connect with us on LinkedIn. There are many, many ways to stay connected and updated on your retirement from Merck, and we invite you to do so. Today's advisor is Michael Corgett, and he's here today to give you a rundown of some very valuable insights you can use when deciding to retire from Merck so that you can retire with purpose. Before he comes on, very quickly, I want to remind you we are not Merck here. We are not affiliated nor endorsed by Merck. We are a completely independent group of financial advisors, so please keep that in mind as you're listening along. And as always, we appreciate your time, and if you'd like to have an appointment, you can also feel free to just chat in the chat box. Just put appointment, and I will make sure that someone reaches out to you through email after the presentation has ended. And without further ado, let's jump right into it now with Michael Corgett.
Thank you, Sam, and welcome everyone to today's presentation. It's a good one. Today we're going to talk about retiring early, whereas normal retirement is typically age 65. A lot of people want to, and if they're financially and mentally prepared, can and want to retire sooner than that. And we're going to talk about many of the aspects that could make that work and make that happen for you during this presentation. As I said, normal retirement is age 65, but nothing is normal anymore. There's something called the FIRE movement now, where you gain financial independence and retire early, but it does require aggressive savings and more aggressive investments. Also, keeping your expenses low and staying out of debt are very crucial to any qualified, solid, good retirement, but even earlier retirement, it does make an awful lot of sense if you're thinking about retiring early. Now, these are obviously the sources of potential retirement income, starting with Social Security. We like to think of this as a four-legged stool. Social Security should be there for all of us in retirement. There are some concerns, but for today's presentation, we won't get into that. All your retirement and savings accounts, your 401k, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, any other investments, whether they're tax deferred, tax free, or taxable investments, are all obviously on the table and relevant. For many of you, you do have a pension. Not all of you, but many of the people that I talk to do have a pension. So that's obviously a very strong leg of the stool. And then possibly something to supplement your retirement income would be a part-time job. These all four are important. If you don't have all four of them, it is going to be potentially a little more difficult to retire early. And we certainly could talk more about that. Your personal goals and retirement, it's very important to align your personal goals with your early retirement. Retiring requires a significant amount of sacrifice and commitments, and you need to, and I like to say, find something else to do. Find something that allows you to commit and enjoy the time that you are no longer using to work. You used to work 40, 50 hours a week, and now you have all that time to yourself. So you're going to want to, and we're going to talk more about things that could be beneficial and make sense when it comes to a fulfilling retirement. Challenges, I mentioned finding something else to do, potential feelings of emptiness and anxiety. Hey, retirement is probably one of the three most stressful things in life that people go through, besides a death in your family and the loss of a job or the loss of a spouse. Okay. And then the importance of having your savings programs in sync with your retirement. All right. Planning is the key. Planning is very important to any retirement date. And we'll talk about planning here in a moment, but obviously the sooner that you get your arms around the idea that I want to retire at, let's say, age 58, put a plan in place and follow it to the letter, and obviously monitor it and update it each and every year if at all possible. Again, what's really important is doing a financial plan and allow us to put together a detailed cash flow analysis for you. This is something we're happy to offer on a complimentary basis, and it's essential to understanding how to replace your income. Let us put that roadmap together for you. And calculating your expenses in retirement is critical. Do you factor in inflation? Because inflation is going to be there. Normal life expectancies for a 65-year-old male is another 20 years. And for a retirement age female, it's a little more than 23 years. So you've got a lot of time ahead of you, and hopefully it's going to be good time in your early retirement. Let's talk about your sources of income in post-retirement. We talked about savings and investments, part-time work, and your retirement accounts. How much can you draw regularly without depleting your funds too fast? This is sometimes where the 4% versus the 5% withdrawal rate comes into play. But having a plan in place just to see how much you are going to retire. Have you factored in inflation? Are you using a conservative growth rate on your investments? That retirement cash flow that I mentioned earlier is a key to seeing whether you're on the right track. Big deal, managing healthcare and your emergency expenses. If you retire early, prior to age 65, you're not eligible for Medicare. Do you have retirement health care from your employer? Are you going to go to work somewhere else, something more satisfying, and will you get health care there? Now, you have COBRA options, but those only last typically 18 months. There is the healthcare exchange, which is an option. It's a very expensive option, but it is an option. So your healthcare is definitely going to be a key as to whether you can retire early at all, because healthcare, it's very important, and it's getting more and more expensive today. If your spouse is still working, are you able to join their healthcare plan? That could be a key, and it definitely may allow you to retire early. Accessing your funds in early retirement. These are many of the different options that will allow you to do that. The one we all think about is age 59 and a half. Once you reach age 59 and a half, you can withdraw money from most of, if not all of your qualified retirement accounts, typically your IRAs. Now, the rule of 55 pertains to 401ks. If you leave a portion of or all of your 401k with your last employer, you can access those funds between 55 and 59 and a half and not have to worry about the 10% penalty. And that's a key. If you are under 55, there is something called the rule of 72T, where the rule allows you to make substantial, equal periodic payments from your IRA investments. Let's say you're 52 years old. You're fortunate enough to have the assets that you want to retire, but you're going to need to access some of your qualified funds. There is a calculation, and that's the 72T calculation that we could walk you through that would allow you to make withdrawals from a portion of or all of your qualified retirement accounts, and again, avoid the 10% penalty. Roth IRA contributions are an option, certain qualifying expenses, and then there's the required minimum distributions that people are going to have to make at the earliest age for 73. For most of us born after 1960, it is age 75. All of these are important, and keep these in mind because accessing many of your funds early is definitely an option. It's not all about age 59 and a half. Accessing your Social Security benefits. Let's look at the three typical ages. Age 62 is the earliest you can elect your retirement benefits. You do take a substantial discount from your normal retirement benefit, upwards of 30%, but you do get to start it early, and you will collect it for 5 years prior to normal retirement age, which for most of us is between 66 and 67. I quoted 67 because that's what my full retirement age is. You got to keep in mind, one of the things that you got to worry about is if you do start your Social Security early and you do work a part-time job or even a full-time job, if that income exceeds a threshold of around $20,000 a year, you will begin to lose your Social Security benefits. So if you're going to retire early and start your Social Security benefits early, you got to be careful about what sort of part-time earnings you have in retirement and want to stay under that threshold. Full retirement age, again, is between the ages of 66 and 67. That's when you get your full retirement benefit. I want to bring this up before I forget. Go to the Social Security's website and join what's called My Account. That way you can see all of the information that's relevant to your Social Security benefits, what you paid into the system your entire lifetime. It's pretty cool, but it will give you an estimate of your early, normal, and full retirement age benefits for you to work into your overall plan. Also, I want to point out too that if you do wait till full retirement age and you are still working, you will not lose any of your Social Security benefits. Social Security benefits are taxable. A good portion of them are taxable, just like a lot of our other income is, but you will not lose any. And then the maximum retirement age is age 70. Many people can't afford to wait till then. Again, you got to see if it fits into your overall plan. If you wait to age 70, you're going to get a significantly higher benefit than you would at age 62. But then you could have been collecting a check for up to 8 years. There's called a crossover benefit the longer you wait. And early retirement to normal retirement age, the crossover age is somewhere between the ages of 78 and 80. What that means is that if you decided to take it early and you live beyond the age of 80, you may have been better off to wait. Again, it all depends on your own situation. Talking about creating a mock retirement budget, steps to develop a retirement budget, list all of the sources of income. And again, doing a plan will allow you to do all of this. Create to and stick to a budget during your working years. Monitor that budget. Keep track of your ATM withdrawals and using your debit card to pay for things. A lot of those get missed. The gas station, the grocery store, the 7-Eleven, getting a hamburger at McDonald's. So you got to track all of your expenses and this will allow you to see, hey, am I doing things right? Am I on the right track? And it will allow you to find potential shortfalls and to modify your plan if need be. For example, let's say your retirement income sources are $7,000 a month, and you believe you're only spending $4,000 a month in retirement. Well, that's more than likely your fixed bills, your mortgage, your car payments, your utilities, and so on. It's the discretionary money that can really throw people off. So this is a very good idea to do well before retiring early. Seek financial advice. Talk to someone like myself. We can provide you with tons of insight and guidance and tell you about concerns that you may never have considered. And we're very happy to create a sustainable financial plan for you. Again, these are just things to consider. I don't want to toot my own horn, but talking to an advisor can be very helpful. And the sooner that you put a plan in place, the better off you're going to be. Someone who started planning in advance of their overall retirement is going to be in much better shape than someone who waited until 2 weeks prior to being notified that they're being laid off or surplused. And oh my God, now I've got to put a plan together. So get something started now. The personal satisfaction that I mentioned early, what are you going to do in retirement? Do you have hobbies? Do you like to play golf? Are you into crafts? Do you want to rebuild an old car? Landscaping, your yard. Do you want to start a garden? Many of these things. All of these can help fill that time and make your retirement very satisfying. And there's a lot of benefits emotionally and physically in doing many of these things. I've got a laundry list of things that I want to do when I'm in retirement. And I like to always joke and say, the part-time job that I'd like to have as a golfer would be to get a job as a golf course marshal, ride around in that golf cart and talk with all the golfers on the course and make sure they're moving along as quickly as they can, and then getting to play golf for free. Plus I'm outdoors. What could be worse than that? Setting and pursuing goals. We've talked much about that already. Explore the goals that are not tied to work to create a balance. Small and ambitious goals tailored to your personal ambitions. Learning new skills, joining a class, maybe going back to school again. I have a client who actually retired and went and got her master's degree in retirement, which is pretty cool. Travel, big deal. Certainly something I want to do, and I'm sure it is for you too. I'm sure you've got places in the United States and around the world that you'd like to see. Start looking into these things now. So you know what they're going to cost, and you could plan accordingly. So again, I've said an awful lot today about retiring early. I know a lot of my clients do it and want to continue to do it. A lot of Americans don't have a plan. So let us help you create a plan, explore all of your goals and objectives, look at all your retirement assets, and make sure that you're on track. Why would you want to consider our firm as a group of advisors? We've got a great deal of experience. We've got offices nationwide. Myself, I'm based here in the Midwest, but I have clients all over the country. We've got a tremendous knowledge of a lot of Fortune 500's companies, pensions, savings plans, and healthcare programs, so we could talk intelligently about your pension and your 401k. And then finally, take advantage of that complimentary retirement cash flow analysis. If you'd like to talk to one of us, you can send us an email or give us a call at 1-800-900-5867. You could scan this QR code here on the left and schedule a meeting with myself or one of my colleagues. Definitely scan the code on the right and follow the retirement group on LinkedIn. We've got a great LinkedIn page, lots of resources, lots of information we share every day. Plus you could see all of the future webinar schedules on our LinkedIn page, which is pretty cool. So we've talked about a lot today, and we certainly could have talked about a lot more. I certainly hope that this was helpful, and I do appreciate your time. Please give us a call or schedule an appointment, and I want to say have a great day. Thank you.